We'll get started. Jamie, you're down here.
Yes, sir.
Braxton, you're down here. Pronounce your first name for me. Irenetta.
Yes.
Boy, your parents had to make it tough, didn't they? Your parents had to make it tough. 6. Okay, Melanie? Melanie, would you do me a favor? Would you come up and hold the Bible? This is a team. They can all put one hand on the Bible, right hand on the Bible or left hand on the Bible, and raise your right hand. And we're all going to do this together as a team, okay? So now when I do say your name, that doesn't mean each of you goes through and says your name. I mean, you say your real name, okay? You ready? Your name.
Y'all gotta be over here.
Come on, come on. Come on.
Huddle up, huddle up.
It's a team, it's a
So
team.
when it catches fire, we can figure out who it was.
Okay, very good.
And break.
Okay, your name.
I, Dana Russell,
Okay. Do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will in all respects observe the provisions
that I will in all respects observe the provisions
of the Constitution of the United States of America,
of the Constitution of the United States of America,
the state of Georgia,
the state of Georgia,
the charter and ordinances of the city of Loganville,
the charter and ordinances of the city of Loganville,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
as a director of the Downtown Development Authority
as director of the Downtown Development Authority
of the city of Loganville.
of the city of Loganville.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Sworn this 13th day of May 2024, and we have your papers to sign over here if you would.
Let you find your name.
Have a little groupie. Do what?
You want to start singing?
I'm not through. Thank you, Melanie. I got another pen if anybody needs it. Anybody need a pen? I'll come by and sign them all. Now, I would like for you, before you get started, when I got the paperwork a few weeks ago, when we organized the original DDA, it was in 1985. It's been 39 years. And the first thing on this mission statement was to invigorate and redo downtown. So when people tell you, what's your hurry? We're not in a hurry. We're 40 years late. But anyway, y'all make your decisions based on what you want to do, vote your conscience, and everything will be fine. Okay? Appreciate all of you being here, and grab your seat up front.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Welcome.
my job to speak into that microphone. Hit the red button.
Everybody would indulge me. It looks like it's 6:30 by my phone, and it's time to call the Loganville Downtown Development Authority meeting. The called meeting scheduled for Monday, May 13, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. here in Loganville City Hall and Council Chambers. Hopefully everybody that has just recently been sworn in and has a packet in front of them sees our new agenda. My name's Paul Rosenthal. I'm going to run this meeting as city attorney for you guys until y'all elect a new officer, elect your officers, and then when you do, I'll gladly hand it over to the chairman. Starting off with first a roll call, I'd like the record to reflect that all directors of the Downtown Development Authority that have recently been sworn in are present, save Mr. Jamie Toller, who is not here this evening. So we have 6 members of the Downtown Development Authority present this evening. That is Mr. Dana Russell, Mr. Michael Lee, Mr. James Dempsey, not Mr. Jamie Toller. He is not here. Mr. Braxton Roberts, Ms. Tara Argo, and Ms. Ironetta Willis. Did I get all those right? Did I miss any? get anybody wrong. So they are all here. You have in front of you an agenda that has been prepared by my office. If there is agreement on the agenda, we would want to get a motion to approve the agenda or any amendments, and then we can move on to the next item of electing officers.
I move approval of the agenda.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Russell. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second by Mr. Lee. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All those against likewise. Anyone against? Okay, that passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is the election of officers. The DDA of the city of Loganville has been in effect since 1985. It has had periods where it wasn't doing anything. That's one that we're just coming out of, but now we're coming into one that is doing something. There are old bylaws that are of record. You're going to have before you some amended and restated bylaws to consider. They're very similar to the old ones, just kind of brought into the 21st century a little bit, just modernized just a little bit and simplified. Those bylaws envision 4 officers. For simplicity, for this small of a board, our recommendation is to consolidate secretary and treasurer. So what you have to consider at this point is the election of a chairman who will essentially run your meetings on the day-to-day and be the figurehead and the signatory of your DDA. Action by the DDA still always will be by majority vote of the members, but they are your figurehead who signs on behalf of the DDA. Then an election of a vice chairman, someone who serves in the absence of the chairman, and then the election of a treasurer secretary, someone who not only keeps up with the books and the records and the minutes, but also keeps up with the books and the records and the financials. Basically someone to take down notes of the meetings and someone to work with the financials, write the checks and those sort of things. Now, both of those tasks, there have been general discussions of coordinating with city staff to facilitate and assist in some of those tasks, and we'll get into those sort of things later. But basically, we're looking for a motion to appoint a chairman if you are so inclined, board.
Paul, I'd like to move that Dana Russell, I nominate Dana Russell as chair for the Downtown Development Authority.
All right, so we have a motion to appoint Dana Russell as chairman of the DDA. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Braxton, okay. Let's see here. I'm working on y'all's names. Let me make sure I get them right. I have Dempsey and Braxton. Okay, I have a motion to appoint Dana Russell as chairman. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Okay, that motion passes 6-0. No, 6-0. Yeah, 6-0. That motion passes, and having said that, then my duties are now ceased. I will gladly hand over the remaining obligations to the chairman to handle item 3, the appointment of a vice chairman and appointment of a treasurer secretary.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your confidence and won't let you down. So then we'll move on to selection of our vice chairman. Do I hear a motion for vice chairman? Anybody interested? You want to continue? We have a motion to nominate, or to select Jamie Dempsey as vice chairman. Any second on that?
Your mics.
I'll make a motion to nominate Jamie Dempsey.
We have a motion to nominate Jamie Dempsey for vice chairman.
I second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0. All right, thank you. Then we'll move on to treasurer secretary. Does anyone have an interest in doing that? Burning desire? Michael does. Well, I don't want anybody to be concerned about this or afraid to do it because, as Paul pointed out, I think we're going to get some fairly good support from the city on doing some of these things, so.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
It's going to take time to
Right.
work out those logistics and discussion with staff and discussion with council, but we're working in that direction.
Can you give me more details on what that would consist of?
I cannot at this time because I don't think we've been able to put all that together. Meaning the level of assistance is something that really has to be fleshed out with staff. It also relates, there's always budgetary constraints as well, so I can't really tell you exactly what level that is. But the goal and the intent would be that city staff would be available to assist in some of what I call the, I don't want to say the mundane, but the details.
Okay. I mean, I can definitely do that, and I mean, I'd be interested in doing that to help out do this, and I think Ms. Araneta would help me out. Again, don't know all the intels of what that takes at this point, but we can figure it out.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak to the position details a little bit?
Sure.
So basically, those two positions thus far have not been terribly overburdening. It consists of taking the minutes of the meetings,
Okay.
distributing those minutes, being able to get them notarized and then sent to whoever's taking care of our website to post for public record. And then for the treasurer's situation as well, it's to basically do monthly reconciliations, which typically, thus far, we have not had a whole lot of financial transactions to deal with. With any luck, that'll change as we get motivated and get things going. However, it's just a matter of making deposits, of making sure that everything balances. So it's not a very extensive
And
situation.
I don't know whether you mentioned it or not, but making a report of the finances at each meeting.
Like I said, I know y'all have served on this. If one of y'all feel better suited, absolutely, I would rather one of y'all do it at this point. But if no one wants to do that, we can take care of it. But again, if one of those two down there would like to do it, you guys have the experience and knowledge, I think, over all of us, or over us too.
Do we have to leave the secretary and treasurer together?
No, you do not. You absolutely do not. It's just the realities of that history here has shown that, like, there's just getting people signed up, so to speak. We've got 7 of y'all now, but that was a big undertaking.
There was a time for about a year that I served as both secretary and treasurer, and I think maybe even as vice chair. So it was.
So it's really just more of an issue of just, resources and folks, available to serve. So that's why we join them. It's going to be within y'all's purview. It's y'all's board to run how you see fit. You're going to be subject to some review and approval by the city of Loganville City Council on some particular items, but y'all's board to run as you see fit. So if you choose that you want to have both a secretary and a treasurer, you're certainly capable of doing that.
So I don't know if the LDA and the DDA will be the same, but the LDA, remember, the city wanted us to do a daily reconciliation. So it has to be a daily reconciliation, which you don't necessarily have to do every day, but you have to be able to produce it when it comes time for the audit. So you have to have a daily reconciliation, and it have to be someone who knows a little bit about accounting. I don't know if there's anyone on this board who knows anything about accounting, but I don't want to do the secretary part of it.
But you would do the treasurer.
I don't mind continuing doing the treasurer.
What are the thoughts of the members on splitting that position? I'm okay either way.
Mr. Chairman, I would say that we split the two, allowing the current treasurer to continue and nominating Tara, and nominate Mr. Braxton for secretary to handle the other duties.
Should we take a vote on that first?
Yeah, absolutely.
do we
Let's just
need a
take a vote on those in 2 separate things, and then just when we get to the bylaws, we'll just address it and we can agree to split those up.
Yeah.
Then, Mr. Secretary, I make a motion that we split the two.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, then let's move forward with the treasurer. Would anyone like to make a motion for nomination for treasurer?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to nominate Tara for treasurer.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can we get that again? Just we missed, who made the nomination? Miss Argo was nominated for treasurer. Made a motion. And who seconded?
Brax.
Mr. Roberts?
Okay. And was that a unanimous vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
All right, then, secretary.
I move Mike Lee as secretary for the DDA.
Mr. Chairman, I would nominate Mr. Braxton Roberts and would respectfully decline if that's possible.
Very good.
All right, we have a motion with failure to receive a second. Motion
So-
fails? Or you can
Second,
withdraw?
I'll second, oh.
Well, we
my-
gotta
my- I'm
withdraw your
sorry.
motion first.
Yes, I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay. Then do we have a motion, an additional motion for nomination for secretary?
Mr. Chairman, I'll nominate Braxton for the secretary position.
Okay, we have a motion? We have a second?
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? All right, very good. Thank you, and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Look forward to serving with you. All right, then, let's move on to adopt new updated bylaws. You have a copy in your packet, and I think we all got a copy today. Paul, if it's not too much trouble, could you take us through the highlights of it?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So these are amended and restated bylaws, and we'll go ahead and put a note that we're going to split up section, we're going to split the roles and split up section 4.7, that we can come back for you next month to do that. That won't be a problem. So these are your bylaws. These are coming off of the old bylaws that were last updated in 1995. They're pretty standard bylaws. They follow Georgia law under the Georgia Development Authority Act. Article 1 just says who y'all are. Article 2 says that y'all, what your powers are, and it quotes verbatim for Georgia law what your qualifications have to be to sit on the board. There was a typo from transition that we had the old 6-year in there, and so if you have that version, that's an error. We caught it. It's 4-year terms, 4-year terms. 3 of y'all were appointed to 2-year terms, and 4 of y'all were appointed to 4-year terms, so that we have staggers. So every 4 years, or every 2 years, excuse me, there'll be either 3 or 4 of you up for renewal, either rolling off or staying on. Y'all can create committees if you so choose. The details are in section 2 about that. It talks about, in Article 3, about how to have your meetings. So y'all are going to be an agency under the Sunshine Laws or the Open Records, the Georgia Open Meetings Act. So here's the advice that you'll get from me on this, is you are free to have meetings as you choose, but I highly recommend that y'all create and adopt a regular cadence. You don't have to do it tonight. In fact, I probably wouldn't suggest that you do it tonight, figure out what y'all's rhythm is, and if you want to adopt the same rhythm you had, some of y'all had under LDA, you can. But whatever that regular rhythm is, whether it's every other month on the 3rd Tuesday, or whether it's once a quarter on the 1st Friday, or it's every week, which I certainly wouldn't suggest that, but whatever your cadence is, at this meeting, if you're comfortable doing it, and if not, at your next meeting, I would suggest that y'all adopt that as your regular scheduled meeting. And what we'll do with that then is we'll post it on the board here, and then when we figure out exactly where the website's gonna sit for the DDA, we'll post it on that, and so then your regular meetings are posted. Once those regular meetings are posted, then your duties under the Open Meetings Act is just to regularly post an agenda for that meeting, with the goal being a week before. If you need to call a meeting, you can always call a meeting. If you need to call an emergency meeting, you can always call an emergency meeting, all within accordance with Georgia law. Very easy to do so. But once you get your regular cadence of when you want to meet, and the enabling statute doesn't require, there's no rule at the city of Loganville level that requires, so it's up to y'all to determine when you're going to set your meetings. And once you set those, if you need to postpone, cancel, you certainly always can do that as well. So that's the main thing on Article 3, is just that your meetings are open meetings, and that they need to be posted, and that the agendas need to be set a week before you have your meetings. Parliamentary procedure, this comes up a lot. I tell everybody wants to get stuck on trying to be a parliamentarian. I went to a lot of law school, and I still don't know how to be a parliamentarian. But let me tell you, this is the short answer. I've done it 25 years. Robert's Rules of Order are when y'all can't agree on just the normal, ordinary conduct of a meeting. Meaning, if y'all ask me what's the difference of call for the question versus call for the order versus point of procedure versus point of order, I can tell you if you give me a minute, but it's all about orderly and processed meetings that have notice, gives everybody appropriate decorum to speak, and then the motions occur. And so, like, even for instance, he didn't want to serve, right? So he needs to withdraw the motion. But if there's agreement that we're withdrawing the motion and there's no disagreement about what's happening up there, We're not going to make a particular point over that particular rule of order didn't follow. Your rules are always orderly processing of your meetings, and then if there really is contentious disagreement, we'll pull out the rules and we'll get down to the brass tacks of exactly how parliamentary procedure is to occur. But ultimately, running meetings is about orderly processing of what's on the agenda with reasonable decorum and making sure that there are appropriate votes, right? You always need to have the vote on it. But if you say, hey, would you mind changing that for me? Does Robert's rules say that we have to have an exact motion? Yes, it does. But if everybody looks across here and say, okay, yeah, I'm okay with changing it to that, then why am I going to take a vote on something that 7 heads are nodding, yep, change that to add $5 to their contract or whatever it may be. So my just encouragement to y'all is y'all do a great job. Don't get so stuck on the rules, but they're there if there's ever a real disagreement or default. So that's Article 3. Article 4 is your officers, which we've already talked about. We got you for 2-year terms. That way y'all serve 2-year terms, and then you'll have renewals of those terms. We will split up Section 4.7 for you and split out Secretary and Treasurer, so you'll have a 4.7 and a 4.8. I would suggest that you go ahead and adopt these amended bylaws tonight, and then we'll have that change for you for your next meeting that just cleans that up and splits 4.7 into a 4.7 and 4.8. Article 5 is just making sure that y'all create appropriate financial records, basically keep a bank account, and you're going to want to work in conjunction with the city finance director to make sure that we're getting those bank records up to the auditors for an appropriate audit every year, which is what Article 5 speaks to. Article 6 says that you agree to follow the ethics. I'm sorry.
Yeah, can I ask a question? Let's see, did I see something in here about an audit?
Yes.
5-2.
Right, does that mean we have to bring somebody in and pay them to audit our financials?
No, we're going to sit, no, every year y'all get audited. I don't even know if y'all know that you get, the LDA knew they get, you get audited because you're what's considered an inferior board under the city.
Okay.
It'll just be part of the
So it's
city's
that
annual.
same thing that, okay,
It's part of the city's
Yeah.
annual audit.
right.
So yes, you have to be audited under Georgia law. You want to be audited, of course, but it will be part of the city's processes that they'll
Do you
coordinate.
mind if I ask, LDA, how often did you all meet, just out of curiosity?
How often did we what?
Meet normally? Did y'all
We
do?
met every other month,
Every other month, okay.
6 times a year.
Thank you.
Article 6 is just ethics and conflicts of interest. Basically, y'all took an oath of office, and y'all are also governed by certain conflicts of interest and ethics rules under Georgia law. It's just identifying that y'all know that, and y'all will comply with those. And then Article 7 is some boilerplate language, but most importantly is that's in Article 9. So this is boilerplate language. I mean, there's nothing really priority in here, but basically that y'all are going to take action through votes. You're not going to take action individually. None of y'all have individual authority to act on behalf of the DDA. Must be board decision. Article 8 just says that y'all are going to have a bank account, and that they'll be signed as appropriate, and the chairman usually and the treasurer will have authority to sign on the bank notes. Your fiscal year matches up, Article 9, your fiscal year matches up with the city of Loganville. We'll get you a new seal ordered because we probably can't find the old one. Y'all can amend the bylaws by majority vote. And then 9.4 is something important for y'all to be aware of, and that is action of directors. For y'all to take action, it is not a majority of a quorum, it is a majority of the board, okay? You need 4 votes to take action, not a majority of whoever's present at the meeting.
Paul, sort of related to this, let me ask you a question. What has been your experience and what is your recommendation with respect to us getting public officers insurance liability coverage?
We'll check. I'm pretty sure that the cities is going to provide that, but we'll double check and see. We can write as an additional insured usually.
My understanding is that's not the case.
Okay.
So
We'll
we
do
did get one with the LDA.
Yeah, I mean, if cities can't carry as an additional insured, then I would advise that we
Yeah.
just get a real basic bond, which we can do, a basic officer's liability policy. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So that's it. I'll be happy to answer any other questions you have. I'd suggest that you pass these bylaws, and then you can always amend them from time to time, and certainly I'll come back with you next month and have this 4.7, or whenever y'all have your next meeting, excuse me, and have this 4.7, 4.8 modified to comport to what y'all just did of appointing a separate secretary and treasurer.
And then, of course, all of the references to Secretary Treasurer in the document. Right?
Correct.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Just two things. You said the action of the directors, that no matter how many are voted, we need a four to pass something.
Correct.
And a quorum is at least four of the
A,
select.
a quorum is at least four, correct. A quorum of a meeting for y'all will be at least four, but actionable will be also four.
Okay, the other thing that I didn't see, but I just glossed over, was the training for the board.
Oh, thank you. That's a good point. That is in section 2, I believe. But basically, it's under Georgia law, even if it wasn't in here. I know it's in here somewhere. Even if it was, there it is, subsection D. Y'all have got to have training, 8 hours of training.
How would you interpret that with respect to the former LDA members?
I mean, I know there are separate courses for DDA folks, but I know that that Carl Vinson has several, GMA has several, you know, so there's lots of options out there. I mean, I
Probably
would think
be a
that your
good idea
training
then.
from LDA could probably carry over, but I'm a big proponent of training. They change these laws maybe not these particular laws, but laws are always changing all the time. So I'm a big proponent for anybody of always getting those annual trainings, you know, wherever they need to be. But yes, you do have a minimum training obligation sitting on the DDA. That's correct.
Yeah, thank you. The reason I asked the question is just for our new members, you're required by law to take at least, it's an 8-hour training class, I believe. I just took it, and took it through Carl Vincent. I did it online via Skype, and I'll be glad to share that with you. But I just, with that same class, it said for all development authorities. So I'm assuming it's good for the DDA as well.
I'll have to do some checking. I mean, you know, the Development Authority statute is a separate statute from the DDA statute. There's two different enabling legislations. One's older than the other. They have a lot of similarities, but they're separate. But we can find the DDA training for y'all. But Carl Vinson has tons of it. GMA has tons of it, you know. But yes, y'all do need to get that done.
And of course, the authority pays for that.
And to your point, Mike, they are separate trainings. However, I guess we need a little direction as to whether we can grandfather in or not, and whether that's even advisable at this point.
Yeah, let me look into that and I'll get back to you. I mean, my
Thank you.
initial response is no, it's
Just,
not.
and I think it probably makes sense for all of us to just go ahead and do that anyway.
It would certainly be a good thing if there is different training, so.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions regarding the bylaws? Do I have a motion to approve the bylaws as they will be amended to separate the secretary-treasurer position?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, good. We have bylaws. All right, the next item on the agenda is to approve the IGA with the Loganville Development Authority to receive funds and pass through the Georgia Cities Foundation loan responsibility. You heard a presentation from Paul on that during the LDA meeting. This is the other side of that agreement with the the DDA agreeing to receive the funds and the loan responsibility. Anything else you want to say about that, Paul? You have a copy in your packet.
No, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, but it's basically y'all are getting some money to open up your coffers, and you're taking on responsibility for servicing that loan. Technically, there is no real financial responsibility. You're just the local issuing authority for that pass-through loan from
And
GCF.
just for information, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're still waiting on GCF approval, but we expect that to be coming in the next couple of weeks.
And just for your information, and information you'll have to have in a few minutes, is that LDA currently has about $36,000.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. So if there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the IGA between the LDA and the DDA.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we have an IGA. Now we have another IGA laying out expectations and services to be offered in the legal arena. Paul, you want to go through that with us real quick?
Sure. So the LDA had excellent legal counsel, and she didn't cost the LDA a whole lot, but you get an even cheaper lawyer this time if you so choose. You get me for free. This is a very common relationship that's set up with cities and DDAs to help facilitate and fund. You, as a board are free to choose whomever you want to be your legal counsel, so you don't have to choose me. But this IGA essentially says, if you do have us represent you, then in agreement with the city, we'll represent you at no cost, basically, sort of as a tag-along, because we represent the city. It does highlight the reality that conflicts can arise. They don't arise often. I have seen them arise, but they are very much the exception, not the rule. So it does spell out and highlight, which I have ethical obligations to highlight to you, is if a conflict does arise, and this IGA sort of pre-plans in that situation, then conflict counsel would have to be retained on both sides of the transaction. But 90+% of the time, our experience is there are not conflicts, and it actually helps and facilitates the efforts between the city and the DDA when you not only have staff helping you work together, city staff, but you also have legal counsel. So if you want my office to continue to serve and represent you guys, I don't expect there's a lot that we have to do for you, but there will be things that you need help on, and we'll give you input and advice anytime you need it. Then by entering into this IGA, basically, you get a free lawyer. It's like having the public defender, but hopefully we're doing a little bit better job than,
My own view of this is that, Andrea gave us great advice. She gave us a great rate, but we didn't do much that required her involvement or her services. So we hope that's going to change. And so I think this would save money, and I know Paul's had a tremendous amount of experience with development authorities, particularly downtown development authorities. So I would support this, but certainly if y'all want to do something different, we'll see how we fall out on it, so.
Would you do the favor of just giving us a little bit, for those of us who don't know you personally, give us a little bit of your pedigree and what all kind of work you've done?
Sure. So, we won't go into too much, no, we won't go into way too much history. I've been practicing and living in downtown Monroe since 2002, 2001 or 2, somewhere in that range. So I've been in downtown Monroe, live in downtown Monroe, work in downtown Monroe, now raising family in downtown Monroe. So I've been practicing law about 24 years now, almost going 25. I've been the city attorney for the city of Monroe since 2005, 4, somewhere in there, and have done sort of special appointment work for other cities through the years. I serve as a solicitor in multiple cities around the Walton County and Newton County areas. Practice primarily in the Alcovy Circuit, which is Walton and Newton counties. Go over to Gwinnett only when I have to, and trying to do that even less and less. So my practice now is more focused on just cities and municipal representation. Had a change in my firm about a few weeks ago. My firm's the oldest firm, or I guess my continuation firm's the oldest firm in Walton County, been around for about 100 years. And so now we're primarily representing cities, yourself, and City of Monroe, and doing some other real estate work and a few other small files. But basically, I've been a downtown guy, so I'll give you this story. I like to tell people I was country when country wasn't cool. I moved to downtown Monroe in 2001 when Monroe wasn't a cool place to move to. And I've been there ever since, and I love it. So I've owned or lived in about 10 different houses within a 1-mile radius through those 20-plus years. So I'm a big proponent of downtown. I'm a big proponent of walkable communities, a big proponent of revitalization. So I kind of dabble in real estate on the side and have lost a lot of money doing it, but enjoy it nonetheless. So I haven't been able to quit my day job as a result. So that's me. I'll be happy to answer any other questions you have, but essentially, my practice is focused on municipal law at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, if there are no further questions. I'll entertain a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Loganville and the Downtown Development Authority for the services of Rosenthal Wright LLC.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Okay, now we need to reaffirm the DDA map. I don't know too much about this, but I believe that this map is no change. This is the downtown overlay, is that correct?
So-
Correct, that the city uses?
Yeah, let me give you some highlight on this. So y'all don't select the downtown development of their area. So it's not that y'all are changing the boundaries. But I wanted to give you a little history, and then in our discussions, we learned that there was never a actual DDA map created. There were DDA boundaries created, but they were created in Word, meaning in motions, and it's a little hard to understand what they look like when you're talking about motions. So here's your history. In 1985, the original DDA boundaries were set. Then, and under Georgia law, the DDA boundaries are set by the mayor and council. They're not set by you guys. So if y'all ever want to change the DDA boundaries, and I don't know if you should or not, but if you do, the process would be, hey, we as a DDA think that they should be bigger, they should be smaller, or whatever. You send a formal letter approved by resolution of y'all up to the mayor and council saying, please consider making them bigger, making them little. It's not your decision to determine or define the downtown development area, it's the mayor and council's. They were originally created in 1985 with the original enabling legislation, and then 20 years later, at the July 2005 meeting of the mayor and council, they were expanded, and those are the boundaries that you have set today. So really, the only purpose I wanted to get before y'all, there's really no action to be taken.
Right.
I just wanted y'all to have, and the public to have, a visual representation of what your DDA is. So what you have in front of you is the Loganville DDA map per the 1985 boundaries as expanded by the mayor and council in 2005. And so the yellow parcels are located within the four corners of the DDA. And as you get your DDA underway, you know, one of the biggest things that DDAs can do when and if y'all have got it stood up and are ready is you can do revolving loan funds through GCF and all those sort of things. And in order for you to do them, they got to be in the four corners of these property, of this map. So that's what your Loganville DDA map is just really for everybody to see it, for y'all to have it, for you to put it up on your, you know, your pegboard and know this is the area
The limits
that
of
I-
our authority.
Yeah, this is the area that I look after.
Yeah, okay, very good. Any questions about that? No? Okay, thank you. All right, next item, number 8. Let me just give a high-level overview of this, and Christie's not, yes, she is here. The mayor's hiding you. Christy Daniels here with us from the city to answer any questions you might have about this, and you may want to just even take us through the presentation on this, but I guess a month or two ago, the city adopted the new brand for the downtown area, and I assume this applies to the same map that we just took a look at. And that brand can be seen on some of the items in the packet, but you also have in your packet inside the magazine a sticker showing the brand for the downtown area. And there were discussions going on between the city and the LDA about the LDA funding the purchase of new trash cans and new banners for the downtown area. And I think that the LDA was in general supportive of that. There were some questions about the cost of these items and you know, where they were going and that sort of thing. But I would like the DDA to consider funding those items. They're not inexpensive, but you know, we have enough money to cover it, and you know, we're looking forward to a closer relationship with the city and the city helping us with our finances in the future. And so I think this would be a good first effort for the two of us to work together. Christy, you want to say anything about those? These are very heavy metal trash cans that are laser engraved with the logo.
Yes, of course, with the trash cans, it's something that we would put down along Main Street. The ones we've had there have been there for many years, as you can tell. The ones on the town green they've been there since the town green was built back in 2010. So these are just heavy-duty trash cans that another city had recommended to me. The logo is laser engraved, so it's not just a sticker stuck on there. And they had told me they will last, some of it lasted longer than 12 years. So, and we chose the black because, of course, it did go along with our logo. They had gray colors and white, of course, but we were afraid they would get dirty and, you know, we'd have to clean them more often. So we thought the black would stand up better. As far as of course, the 35-gallon cans, we'd place them along Main Street. I think there's a couple near your business, Aranetta. There's one near yours. So that's where the 35-gallon cans would go. And then the 55-gallon cans would go on the town green, Toddler Park, and of course here at City Hall at the track, at the park there. And then, of course, if you look over at the, and then the invoice is attached as well that tells you how much the price is per can, so you can see that. The 55 gallons are $700 a piece, and the 35 gallons are $610 a piece. And then, of course, you have to pay the shipping to get them here.
How many banners? Is it 36?
As far as the banners, it was 36 total. So I started at the end of Main Street here at 20 and went down to 78, counted all the poles. So along Main Street, we'd put those on every pole, and we would alternate a different flag on each pole. And then, and the flags on Main Street will be a little larger than the flags around the town green. So we would do every pole around the town green and then every other pole along Main Street. And that comes with the brackets, and the price includes the brackets and everything, of course.
Other questions, comments?
I don't have any questions. I'm more just curious on how, as time proceeds, I'm assuming this is part of our budget as we go forward.
Well, that would be worked out in the future, I think.
Okay.
We're
I didn't know how
funding
that-
the initial rollout,
Okay.
and then we'd have conversations.
They're wonderful. You did a great job on them. I was just curious on how that all worked out.
Yeah, I think it depends on finding a regular income stream for the DDA. The LDA, just for your information, it was funded by the city a number of years ago. I guess we got like $50,000, and, whoops, yeah, I'm on. And undertook some projects, but since I've been on the LDA, the only money that we have spent from that pot has been to put on an annual business get-together, and that, costs for that have been minimal.
Okay.
But we have no other source of ongoing income.
Okay.
We're going to have those discussions in the future.
Absolutely. I was just curious. Thank you.
All right, so we have, what do we say, 15 garbage cans at 11,380 and 36 banners and brackets for 7,245. That comes to about $18,600. What's your pleasure on this?
I still think we need a second price for these. They're just super high before we agree to it, even when we have all the money. But, can we get a second?
I mean, I can find another place to get a quote from if you need, if you want another quote from another business.
Yeah,
Yeah, these are
'cause-
just some places that other cities have used that I got a quote from.
I mean, we were talking about it when it was before, when we were the LDA, so you guys weren't a part of it, but the price for the trash cans doesn't really make sense to me.
You can go online, which I did, and found similar items that are as much as $2,000 each.
To that point, Tara, if I may. I actually asked a similar question not too long ago, because, I was kind of curious about that number as well. The answer that I got from the city was very succinct and made a lot of sense. Based on the materials that are being used, the longevity of the materials and what's being done to them in order to make them usable for the longest period of time possible. Christian, thank you for getting back to me about that stuff as well. But she gave me some sources as well to check out, and where I was uncomfortable or a little uncomfortable at one point, it actually came in a lot cheaper than the other sources that were available for similar products, for whatever that's worth.
And you said you got
By
this
roughly
source from
20%.
someone else that who recommended it? Okay.
In other words, I'm now comfortable with these numbers where I was a little sketchy on it for a little while.
And looking at the amount of banners, we're doing all of the historical Main Street or historical Loganville district, not just Main Street. I'm just looking at how many numbers we have of those.
So what I have here, I went, just the ones on Main Street and around the town green is where these flags would go.
Okay.
So that was every other pole on Main Street and every pole around the town green.
Perfect. I need to count poles.
Yeah, and that would be like the light poles on Main Street. the
For
bigger-
sure.
Yeah.
No.
And on Main Street, the actual little black light poles that's there, so.
Okay, that makes sense too.
The,
Thank you.
not black poles, I mean, around the town green is little light poles.
I got you. Thank you so much.
Tara, you're still uncomfortable? Not
A
to put
little
you on the
bit.
spot.
It's
I understand.
$18,000. We don't have a budget or anything yet. I'm an accountant by day. I don't like it. I don't love it. I don't think we should probably get at least one other quote.
Okay, I mean, I'll be glad to find another company and get another quote.
Okay. I hope we can meet next month then, because I know the city wants to move forward on this. And I think frankly, it would make a good splash for us to, the DDA just started up again and funded these things. And
But we don't have to wait till another meeting, do we? Can't you get the quote and then we can meet? I
We
mean,
have
we
to
don't
take
have
a-
to wait until next month.
We'd have to have a called meeting then at that point.
Well, can we call a meeting for it? I mean, I
Sure.
don't want to hold up progress, but
Well, no, as long as we
$18,000
get
and we have
everybody together,
35.
yeah, we can do that. Okay. Well, let's, let's try to keep it within 2 or 3 weeks.
We can do it tomorrow.
As soon as you have another
Okay, I can work
quote,
on the quote tomorrow, it won't be a
we'll
problem.
set up a meeting.
Okay, I'll try to find some other companies.
Okay.
Okay.
And our requirement on call meetings is 48-hour notice, so
Oh.
we'll at least need a couple days. 24, okay. All right. Then we have, as we did on the LDA agenda, general discussions about next steps for the DDA. Paul, you want to go through those with us?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, it's the issue of meeting schedule, and then, we're gonna be here to help y'all any way you want, but it's y'all's board, it's y'all's, agenda and efforts. The mayor and council did not appoint an ex officio member, I think maybe because we forgot, because the meeting was there's a little bit of chaos, so they may come back, but basically what that means is there's no requirement, but they can, if they want to, appoint an ex officio member from their board to be essentially the liaison, a non-voting member of your board. They actually have the authority to appoint a voting member. They indicated, I believe, that they weren't going to do that, which is always our advice, not to do that. But to have an ex officio member is basically just a liaison. Who's your point of contact at the mayor and council that you go to about y'all's issues? A lot of times that particular person attends y'all's meetings pretty regularly, and they're just ex officio. So that may be something that comes down the pipeline. I'd, suggest that you get your meeting schedule figured out, what y'all would like to do. Highly recommend the training. We'll be here to help you out in any way. Our plan will not be to regularly attend your meetings, but whenever you need us to, you let us know, and we certainly will. For these first couple, of course, we're happy to come and, just help y'all along. We'll definitely come at your next one to bring back those edits to that bylaws for you and for anything else that you need. But, I think y'all are all excited to get some things going for downtown, which is great. We'll work with staff to help facilitate some of the logistics of setting up accounting, setting up meeting minutes, uploading and all those sort of things, website. We'll be happy to facilitate that, but it's in y'all's able hands now.
Okay. I think some of our new members might be interested in learning more about the Open Records Act and Open Meetings Act before they go to training. I wonder if you could maybe send some citations and places where they can get more information on that?
Yeah, there's classes available probably at Carl Vinson online. I don't know if there's a fee for those, but at a minimum, I will get you probably the perennial resource on that, which GMA has an open meetings notebook that I refer to regularly, and I highly recommend it because it's written in layman's terms. It's a little bit lawyerly, but it's written pretty layman's terms, and it's just an easy read on those issues.
The Secretary of State's office also has them. I attended a class there on them for police departments and also for local governments. So,
Yeah.
and they're free. They will send them to us.
There's lots of resources. The short answer is keep the meeting open and all your records are discoverable, are available to the public. That's the short answer, right? Is absent exceptions, your meetings are going to be advertised, properly noticed, open to the public, available for people to see, and your records are always going to be available. So remember that on your email communications, and so, do we- So we'll get into the details of the website and finding out some emails. That's going to be a lot of staff working with you guys. But email communication is also available in public, all those sorts of things. So just remember that.
Paul, my memory serves me right with the council. I believe they were trying to determine if the DDA wanted an ex officio member assigned to the DDA. So maybe we could find that out. I mean, all it is a liaison man, person, or woman that would be there to help, but would y'all prefer that?
Anybody have thoughts on that?
In order to open the conversation on it, I move that we do have an ex officio member of the mayor or council to be a part of this process.
I absolutely second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Let's not,
Now we're open to discuss.
yeah, let's discuss it.
Yeah, just clarification on discussion. It's not y'all's technical decision, but it's basically y'all's request that they appoint an ex officio member.
Yes.
So you're telling them that you want one. I think that's, what they want to hear. So, but I would definitely take that motion.
What do y'all think?
Yes, I love it.
You do?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we all love it.
Michael, what are your thoughts?
I'm good.
All right, all in favor of making such requests, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. How would you like that, Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, by email, or consider
I
this
think-
communication?
I think we're okay now, and we'll communicate that to the council
Okay,
next meeting.
very good, thank you.
Is there a chance we can go back and discuss something for 2 seconds real quick? Tara, I thought the same thing. I'm just looking back at trash can stuff for 2 seconds, just because I know we have a business that actually serves food on Main Street. I know a lot of people leave trash outside of my business. I thought the same thing 2 seconds ago. Just basic Google search, trash cans, those black ones, I call them I say it rightly, the crappy ones outside a racetrack. Cheapest one that I can find anywhere on the internet right now is almost $700 to $800, and that's the little ones that someone could pick up and steal and take off the street. I don't see anything even close to $300. That's, I mean, most everything on here is actually over $1,000 that looks anywhere close to what she has. Question for downtown authority, would those be able to be mounted or bolted where they would not be taken? I just know, I've been living downtown for a while, or work downtown. I just know sometimes people are crazy. So the ones we have, they look like they have a ring around them where we could bolt them down if we wanted to.
I know that there's a kit for that, but I don't know if you have that in your order.
And it's okay. I was more just going back because I know the city probably wants to proceed with that. And again, just looking at anywhere, basic Google search, anywhere close, your quote actually beats half of these things by
about 20%.
yeah, easily. And again, they're the basic black ones that are outside a racetrack for $1,000. I'm just, like I said, I thought the same thing for 2 seconds, and I did a little research for 30 seconds. I just saw that it's not far off at all. Actually, it might be cheaper. And again,
Okay.
just something I thought too.
If y'all want to follow up on that and get additional quotes,
Okay.
all right,
And we can call a meeting and just vote on that. Okay.
okay.
And Mr. Chairman, is it fair to say that under whatever circumstances, we do prefer cans that can be bolted and not lifted and taken?
Well, that would be a personal preference if they were mine, but I think that's a decision the city needs to make. You have more experience with theft in the city, or are the current ones bolted down? Do we know that?
No, they're not.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I would say y'all decide what you think is appropriate, and then let us know.
Absolutely.
What you want. Well, I wouldn't.
Sorry for going back to that. I was just thinking about that before we opened discussion.
I'm sorry, say it again.
No, I said sorry for going back to that. I just
Oh,
wanted
no,
to
I think that's
discuss that before a little bit
Great.
before we open discussion.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think moving forward, I'd like to propose that over these next couple of months, if we look at keeping with a similar schedule to what we've been doing as the Loganville Development Authority, if we were to look at the off month as a work session, to basically to get some folks, including ourselves, up to speed on maybe having Paul talk to us a little bit about some of these differences here or there, and how to navigate some of these new positions, and what we think we need to be moving forward with, just kind of skull sessions, as opposed to, call them voting sessions, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
If I'm correct, though, that would still have to be noticed and,
Still has to be noticed, and here's my suggestion on that, because y'all are getting yourself going and you're, kind of coming out of the blocks, I would just make any meeting y'all have just a called meeting until you adopt a regular meeting schedule. And I wouldn't even, my suggestion would be it's y'all's call, but I wouldn't even fool with work sessions, because as you're getting out of the blocks, there may be things you need to take action on, if you're gonna have monthly meetings for a little while, then move to every other month or something like that. You're gonna have things you need to do, just like tonight, like, do we do trash cans or not? Well, I don't know, let's look at this. Well, we wanna get them done soon. So I would just call meetings on a cadence that y'all wanna call meetings for now. And then as soon as you settled into enough, you're like, no, this is when we wanna meet. We wanna meet every other month, or every third month, or every month, or every third week, or whatever. Then you just adopt a regular meeting schedule. Then we'll post it on the board so that you're compliant, post it on the website once we have the website figured out. I wouldn't, my advice is, it's y'all's meeting. My advice would not to do work sessions, because then there'd be this idea of, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't take action on that meeting, and then you don't want to wait another month. Now, technically, you can take action if you properly advertise it, even at a work session. I would just call your meetings called meetings until you adopt a regular schedule. Then you'll have regularly scheduled meetings, and then you call meetings anytime you need to at roughly 24 hours notice. But
And
as
I
much as
apologize,
possible.
Paul, for my nomenclature.
No, it's okay.
Because that's essentially what I was.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're just thinking, meet every month now until you got it figured out, and then,
Well, and there's a difference and I've spoken of this a little bit, but there's a little difference between sitting at the dais and trying to pass a paper from this end to that end, as opposed to sitting around and
Sure.
making drawings and, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that just difference just centered around just the recording this meeting. And
Yes,
so
sir.
I think that's just the technology of, if y'all are gonna have meetings recorded or not, that's another thing we gotta get to, meaning visually recorded and displayed. And so if you're down there, I just think it's the issue of the equipment is not available to have the electronically
stick with
recorded
call
meetings.
for a little while, 'cause this-
You're not required to electronically record the meetings.
right, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Yes, sir, if I got just one or two.
Sorry, please.
I do have a couple. As the LDA, we had committed to the morning meeting coffee with Christie,
Morning mingle,
morning mingle.
right.
And I think we had a date set up for August the 16th, if I'm correct, I'd have to check. But since the LDA is no longer in, I would move that we still continue that. The cost is nominal, a couple $100 probably. But what we would do is present coffee and donuts or whatever. And some of us would be present to get out what we are, what we do, and go from there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Did you say you moved? You make it- is
I would move that
formal
we
motion?
still do that. It was a commitment the LDA had, and I'd like to carry it forward.
We hear a second?
I second that. I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? What do you guys think?
I like
It's
coffee.
coffee and donuts, yeah. All right, very good then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, very good.
And just a great
Christie,
example.
we're gonna still do it.
That would be a meeting, right? Since it's a meeting where you're discussing, all we gotta do is advertise it. Doesn't mean that it has to be here. It could be at, I think, one of you ladies has a nice new restaurant in town.
Actually, this is something that the city hosts. We're not meeting there, we're just friendly.
Any place four
Well-
or more of us are together.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
if four
If
of
you're-
us don't go, it doesn't have to be posted? Why
I
would
wouldn't
we
think so.
not want to post it, though?
Right.
We've done that before.
It's just, yeah, we just wanna make sure that's a great example of a meeting where, even if you're not planning on taking any action, you're just having coffee, more than a quorum of y'all are gathering, and you are discussing DDA policy. You may not take any action, but you may talk about, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do. That just needs to be an advertised meeting, even if it's in a different location. Y'all have authority to conduct meetings anywhere within the state of Georgia. And so most of them, I presume, will be in this room, in this building. But if you decide to have a called meeting at a business or a restaurant, you certainly can do that. It just has to be open and advertised.
Okay. Michael, do you have something else?
I think you mentioned website and funding would be discussed later.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just think that there's probably not enough intel yet on to exactly who's on first and what's on second for website. and funding's out of my hands. Y'all have got the money from the LDA, and then where y'all go find your other money is,
If I'm
it's up
correct,
to y'all
though,
to figure out.
we're not required to have a website.
You are not required to have a website. That is absolutely
But
correct.
to post
No?
posting minutes and meeting schedules.
You're not even required to have the website, but that discussion is just the concept that there's sort of a good repository system in place with the city. So if the city agrees to let you sort of piggyback on, then you can use their system, and that may facilitate and make it the easiest. So,
And my understanding is that the only thing you have to post would be meeting notices and agendas,
on a website,
at all. You don't have to post minutes, is what I'm trying to get to.
you have to make them readily available.
Right.
You have to make them readily available. So, I mean, our advice always is if there's an easy repository where you can put them online, make them available, do it.
Yeah.
If you don't have a website, you don't have to post your meeting notices to the website. If you do have a website,
Then you do.
need to post, even if you share with the city, you know, even if y'all are a secondary link on the city's website, then, you know, we'll make sure that y'all are compliant to post. You know, these meetings that are happening here tonight, they were talked about multiple times by the mayor and council before they were ever posted. Everybody that watches on the internet had noticed that these were happening, you know, and so it's all about just an open meeting. It's not
Redundant systems.
it's making sure that people know that there's something that's happening. And I know that these meetings were talked about several times by the mayor and council and during Economic Development Committee long before these meetings ever came about. So lots of people knew about it.
Okay? Anything else? All right. Thank you all for being here.
Wait, when are we deciding when we're meeting?
If you want to talk about it, we can. My personal view is that we're going to be, as Paul said, getting out of the blocks and sort of just doing things to get up and running. We have to have discussions with the city about potential support. And I would suggest that we, for the short term at least, have just called meetings. Because in addition to that, you know, we have no idea if and when the city wants to move forward on some things in the downtown area, and that will change our meeting schedule. But if you guys want to set, if the majority wants to set regularly scheduled meetings, that'd be fine.
No, I don't think we have to set them. We're just wondering like what's next.
Oh, next would be meeting to review the
trash can
proposals or
quote.
the invoices for the barrels and flags.
Right, but you said we need to meet with the city, talk about like when are these things happening? Or they have to decide and then come back and tell us, or?
I
What
think
happens
that we were
next?
talking about June, early June. And that may be, well, we'll get in touch with you about it, but it's really to support officers and to get them up and running with potential, in connection to potential support from the city.
Okay.
Would you like something different?
No, I just wanted to know,
She wants
like,
to know when we're meeting
it
next.
feels like everyone's like, let's hurry up,
Oh,
and then it's like, oh, well, we don't know when we're gonna meet
I
again.
expect to be in
So
touch with
let's
y'all
do it
in
if
in
we're
a
gonna do
matter
it.
of days, right?
Okay.
For a called meeting. Okay, all right. Any other questions, comments? Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Yes. We don't have public comment on the agenda, but,
No, but if you'd like to, you certainly can.
okay. Is there anyone who'd like to address the authority? Skip, you want to give her the microphone? Tricia?
Thank you. As a former member of the LDA, we had just recently approved an insurance policy for LDA members.
Right.
So what happens to that policy?
It is fully paid,
Exactly.
but we may be able to get the insured changed on it.
Right,
So we're going to explore that, I think.
right, because we did not discuss that before we ended our meeting, so. I just wanted to follow up on that and see if that might be something that could transfer to the DDA.
I feel like it could, don't you? Yeah. We'll have to ask the
Changing
broker.
the name of the insurer, but that's all.
Right.
That's all.
Anyone else? Okay.
Not right now.
All right. Without a, oh. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn. Paul, am I correct? The motion to adjourn doesn't require a second. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all again.